up? Paradigm Review Show. I'm Ross Rico. Come on, apes, you want to live forever? It's Starship Troopers, one of the most epic sci-fi actions of all time. Sorry about yesterday, my friends. I know you guys were like ready at the usual time. Next time that I was on some flights, I was out of town. Next time that happens, we'll do a better job of letting you guys know that we have postponed a day back to noon. While the signal populates, I'll probably just do some quick channel news. Not too much going on. You guys should know the schedule by now. We have The Running Man 1987 next week, followed by No Country for Old Men. Both are anniversary releases. What Up Slip, as well as Starship Troopers is also near the release. Gaz and I were kind of torn today because we had like Veterans Day coming up. So like, we're like, do we do a war movie? Do we do something? But I think Starship Troopers kind of scratched both itches. It's technically a war movie, a la Not Very Realistic in the future. And it's also the anniversary, as I said. No Country, and then finally Sisu 2, The Road to Revenge. Highly recommend you go check out our Sisu 1 review. If you haven't seen Sisu 1, I would definitely go watch that. It's a, for lack of a better phrase, guys, it's the World War II John Wick. But like World War II aesthetic, weaponry, vehicles, you're definitely gonna like that a lot. Shout out in Finland. Shout out to those guys. And that director is doing the Rambo prequel, John Rambo. Gaz and I are both quite nervous about that, as we should be. So, I mean, I respect the director. I know he can make a good movie. I'm sure Lauren would say, is that a part of the story that we need to see? Because we've already had like 4 Rambo movies, 5 Rambo movies. So, yeah. They're like, what part of his timeline hasn't been done? Oh yeah, when he's young. Isn't that like the book already? But whatever. I think the book became First Blood. So that's pretty much it. We'll update. Gaz's idea was we did want to do Days of Sodom for the first week of December, but it's my understanding that Cody's now in talks with, I believe it's Lionsgate for distro, which means if it gets picked up as canon, you know what I mean, it will kind of a bigger push there. So we'll see. I don't know what that entails. Maybe a theater run, maybe more, Blu-ray hard copies. So we'll keep you guys posted on that. But would kind of be ridiculous, guys, if my first indie Crow movie got picked up and added to canon.
Wouldn't be bad though. Wouldn't be bad.
No, it wouldn't be bad. Not really expected, but wouldn't be bad. So that's going on. I think probably what we'll do is Gaz's idea. We'll probably change that show to the Crow graphic novel, just so we can get shout out to James O'Barr, just so we can get James O'Barr locked in before we cover Days of Sodom. If you haven't seen our Days of Sodom trailer reaction, go watch that on the playlist, and you can also go watch the Days of Sodom channel over on Cody's channel at Wet Paint Pictures. There's a couple things over on Lauren Leprie's channel, Average Superstar TV. Go subscribe to that. There's a couple interviews from Camera X. Our new horror film has leaked, and that is out on POV Horror and whatever those other horror outlets are that I announced a few shows back, guys. Can't really remember the names of them now. So I think one of them's Trashy Horror Movies or something like that.
Something like
horror.
that, yeah.
And then there's one more. So anyway, it's been posted, or go check it out on Lauren's socials and channels. Think that'll do it. Unless you have anything else, guys, we could get right into Starship.
Yeah, let's get right into it, man.
So you guys know me and Gaz are sci-fi fanboys. We've both seen this movie approximately 50 times. We'll do our best to cover some of the additional universe expansions to have a more nuanced conversation. There is a sick game that I do play on Steam. I think it's called Extermination. That game is absolutely fire. MMO, not an RPG, but a bit of an MMO shooter. So definitely check out Extermination on Steam if you're into gaming. There are a couple animated films that are pretty good. One of them's rated highly, the other one is not. So we'll get into those, as well as the couple Starship Troopers sequels. Kind of work that stuff in at the end. I'm sure there's other stuff as well, comics and graphic novels. I'm not too versed on that.
Yeah, there's another game as well, Starship Troopers Terran Command, an RTS game. That's actually meant to be pretty good as well, from what I've heard. Yeah.
That sounds interesting. I haven't played an RTS game in a long time, so maybe me and Gaz get a chance to put hands on that. We'll let you guys know how it goes. It's an epic movie when the synopsis is only one sentence long. Humans in a fascist, militaristic future wage war with giant alien bugs. Can't get any crazier than that. Genres: alien invasion, dystopian sci-fi, space sci-fi, action adventure, sci-fi thriller. Of course, it stars the man Casper Van Dien, Johnny Rico. Directed by Paul Verhoeven. Did he do Empire Strikes Back, guys? I think he has a pretty. I think he may have actually even did RoboCop, and you made that.
That's what I was thinking. I'm sure he did.
He did Starship Troopers. He did Total Recall. He did RoboCop 1. He did The Hitchhiker. He did Flesh and Blood. A lot of Rutger Hauer stuff. Rest in peace, Rutger Hauer. He also did Soldier of Orange. Looks like he worked extensively with Rutger Hauer. And okay, no, I don't think he did Empire, but he did do RoboCop. So
both the first two RoboCops.
Yeah, no, this was my bad, Slippy. I saw you guys in the chat. I should have put out word, man. I was on a flight. I was out of town, and then we moved up my flight, so we couldn't make it happen. But Saturday's still the regular slot. We'll be back next week. We just had to bump this one today. And then, Gaz, I know you got work, but if we butt up against your work, just you can do your shouts and ditch, and I'll do the outro just in case you get tight. So yes, Starship Troopers. And then of course there's a few other legends in here. Bumped off my page. Dina Mayer plays Dizzy. Of course, Denise Richards, Carmen. Did you know that was Jake Busey, guys?
Yeah.
Dude, he's a man, dude. He's a
Clancy,
good stuff.
Clancy Brown as well.
Sergeant Zim. Clancy Brown's a legend, of course, from Highlander pedigree. Neil Patrick Harris. Patrick Muldoon is Xander. Of course, Michael Ironside is Jean Rezak.
That's character.
Pretty stacked. Yeah, of course, Ironside. Whenever Ironside shows up, you know it's about to be heat.
Yeah.
So if you wanna just do initial intro, guys, I'll pull up our plot here in the background. So whatever you think about the first intro scenes or whatever.
Well, it's direct. To hit you in the face, as Ross just said there with the synopsis. And it immediately takes hold of you. It's very much sci-fi action in the terms of kind of aliens. It's kind of like a more expansive RoboCop, I guess, in a way, with the humor that it brings in with the action scenes as well. I mean, which is interesting considering, as Ross said, Paul Verhoeven did the first two RoboCops as well. So if you enjoy that dark humor mixed with solid action and social commentary as well, it is in there, then you will definitely dig Starship Troopers. So that it just takes hold of me straight away because you know you're going to be entertained. The opening, everything about it.
It's definitely Grindhouse, as Gaz said. The violence is there, the nudity is there, the kind of slapstick one-liners. You know what I mean? I put all that kind of in the Grindhouse category. It's one of those movies where you probably saw most of it in the trailer. I remember back in '97 when this dropped. It's like, okay, like they just showed me the movie, but I have to see it because it's it's like Space Marines killing bugs. It's like you probably knew everything that was going to happen when you saw the trailer, but you're like, okay, I still have to see the full movie. It's just one of those. Slipknot says it's just like RoboCop. I mean, I think we're gonna get RoboCop on the PXF Classic list, guys, because one is just way too good. Obviously, you guys know that I was playing the Steam game Unfinished Business, and it was awesome. And then they just dropped a whole secondary campaign, guys, or not the Unfinished Business was the secondary campaign. So I played the whole campaign. So I'm gonna have to revisit that. So we're probably gonna have to get RoboCop on for you guys since Gaz mentioned it and Slip mentioned it. I mean, RoboCop is a PXF classic.
I mean, arguably, Ross, it's very much, and this, I mean this in a complimentary service. Starship Troopers is definitely fan service for anybody who likes sci-fi, especially sci-fi action, because as we said, it's got all of those elements in there. So if you've ever wanted a live action movie, if you like 40K StarCraft, then you definitely get that, because the Tyranids are essentially, the bugs are essentially the Tyranids from 40K. The Troopers, very much the Aston Militarium, aka Imperial Guard, but with a little bit of Space Marines in them as well.
Sure.
So it's all there for us. Live action, it's great. We can get into the sequels later. But
we definitely will. There's a concept in 2 that I think is genius. That infection. infecting the humans and kind of puppeting them. I think you could have made a whole Starship Troopers movie on an outpost that's like the thing, like which one of us is infected. I think it's a very low budget into, but we'll come to that when we
get to it. But so that's all I was going with. That it's very much fan service for anyone who likes sci-fi, and it's great.
100%. Yeah, love letter to the RoboCops and Paul Verhoeven fans. So Starship Troopers is a military science fiction novel by American writer Robert A. Heinlein, written in a few weeks in reaction to the U.S. suspending nuclear tests. The story was first published as a 2-part serial in the magazine of fantasy and science and fiction. Everybody knows that as Starship Soldier, and published as a book by G.P. Putnam's Sons on November 5th, 59. So it's kind of crazy that the book comes out in 59, guys, if we don't get the movie till 97, Of course, we did have Alien before that in 79, which kind of waded into those waters. I'm going to talk about that as well. Go ahead, guys.
I was going to say, here's an interesting question. I'm trying to think back here. There maybe was some... Yeah, there was. I've just answered my own question in my head. Forget that. You would forget it.
No worries. I remember seeing it in the cinema as well, Slip, and I thought it was just kind of like a low grade B movie at the time. I didn't get super into it, just because some of the satire, as Gaz was saying, was lost on me. That totalitarian, military, fascist, human government. I would argue that it's more relevant now in the current Trump administration than it was then in 97 when it came out. So this is the kind of movie, as Gaz said, sure, you come for the slapstick, you come for the kills, but you stay for the actual philosophy that is the overall point that the film is making, which is Gaz and I said this about Toxic Avenger. It's a much more serious point. Well,
you make a very good point, because I was the same as you, first time round ever seeing it. It's not that I didn't enjoy it, but a lot of it just flew over, didn't quite feel it as much as I do now. And I think a lot of people have grown to appreciate it. It's now definitely viewed as a cult classic. And now, as I said, I noticed the social commentary, didn't before, but I do now, because it's like this perfect segue here, the Running Man OG, which we're going to cover. And that has that social commentary in it too, especially when you see the guy. I think there's a clip of a game show, somebody's participating in climbing for dollars, which is hilarious but quite witty as well. So I think Starship Troopers is definitely more relevant in recent times, and that's why people, I think, as the movie has aged, appreciate it much more than originally. I'm not saying nobody enjoyed it, but I think appreciate the other subtle nuances within the film.
Peace. Thank you. Appreciate you. So we're going to get a little bit deeper into this. So based on the novel, I'll rip through a little bit of this intro. The story is set in a future society ruled by human interstellar government called the Terran Federation, dominated by a military elite. Under the Terran Federation, only veterans of a primarily military federal service enjoy full citizenship, including the right to vote. The first person narrative follows Juan Johnny Rico, a young man of Filipino descent, through his military service. I don't know if Wikipedia got that right, because Buenos Aires is not in the Philippines, but
I
don't know if maybe he's some sort of immigrant. It's okay. Through his military service, the mobile infantry, he progresses from recruit to officer against the backdrop of an interstellar war between humans and alien species known as arachnids or bugs. Interspersed with the primary plot are classroom scenes in which Rico and others discuss philosophical and moral issues, including aspects of suffrage, civic virtue, juvenile delinquency, and war. These discussions have been described as expounding Heinlein's own political views. Identified with a tradition of militarism in U.S. science fiction, the novel draws parallels between the conflict between humans and the bugs and the Cold War. It is also a coming-of-age novel which criticizes the U.S. society of the 1950s, arguing that a lack of discipline had led to moral decline and advocating corporal and capital punishment. So a whole lot in there, like we were saying, against this backdrop of an absolutely insane action sci-fi shooter, if you will. I immediately bought the VHS as soon as available. Hopefully we'll talk about some of the media. I did have a drink around here, but I might have killed it, so we'll investigate that at a later date, guys. So we're gonna go straight into plot. overall, I rate the film pretty highly, but when you've seen it many multiple watches, as Gaz and I have, the only real criticism I have is like for $100 million movie and what you saw in the trailers, they spent a little bit too long on Rico's climb through training. I know it was like character building. You had to show Rico making the mistake in the simulation, getting demoted from squad leader and stuff like that. You had to kind of show his character arc, but they don't hit boots on the ground till just over an hour in the movie.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
No,
So it was a little bit too long on the two love interests and his training and the whole, like, I get what they were building up to, but like when you watch the trailer, you're like, oh man, it's going to be like Aliens, you know?
That's what you're expecting. Yeah.
You know? So,
yeah.
And they do get there, you know, once he gets deployed, they do get there, but it's just that pacing on. If you watched it many times, like me and Gaz have watched it, it's not going to pop off right away. I wouldn't call it a slow burn, but it doesn't get right to it.
Yeah.
I'll say that much.
Yeah, that could be reduced so we could see more space battles, because that's why everybody is there. And if no one has ever seen this film, that's what you will be wanting from it as well. So yeah, that's the only thing, because it's. I know I'm clutching at straws here, but because I'm the same as you, because I do rate the film. So, but I'm going to try and not just sit here and fanboy all the way through it and say, right, this is totally perfect. After the first battle scene, and I'm going to try and avoid spoilers as much as I can as well. After the first battle scene, you are left with, oh yeah, you're pumped up, you're wanting more. So yeah, I feel that. And then once you, as you rightly said, Ross, once you've seen it so many times and you view it again, you think, man, I would have just liked some more actual field battles, not say, like you said, almost like 60 minutes on character building, etc. Which, yeah, I understand why, but could have maybe had one more field battle in there, would have been cool. Just one more.
Since you just said that, what I thought of is like, I get like the film is told from Rico's point of view. It's obviously following Johnny Rico. He's like the first major character they introduce, and he's kind of the star of the series. Even when we go on to other chapters of the canon, me and Gaz will talk about like the animes and stuff. But I think the way to do it, Gaz, would have been like, while he's in training, they could show some of those other battles, like this is what's going on these other conflicts, and like this is the type of stuff that Rico is going to get deployed to, because, you know, there's obviously these other battles setting up to where he's going to go. But again, you know, a solid director. I mean, the $100 million budget, guys, like obviously the CGI is super outdated from 97. So it kind of, at certain scenes, you definitely wonder where the $100 million went, if it wasn't just to Casper Van Dien, Ironsides, and Clancy Brad, all these big name sci-fi legends. So Gaz and I will have a more nuanced conversation at the end of like where I think they should take it, because I think if you would have given $100 million now versus $100 million 97 is not the same $100 million, right? When you watch The Dark Knight from 2008, you can see the $100 million through the camera and the sets, and you can see it. When you watch Starship Troopers, it's outdated, like I said, but again, it's just like, it's a classic. It's a PXF classic. That's really the only way I can put it. All right, let's do. Man, there's a lot about. Okay, there's the adaptations. Where did plot go? Why did it run away from there? It's plot. The novel opens with Rico aboard. Wait, hold on. Am I looking at the plot? Oh, no, actually, what I just read to you guys was actually, all right, I was reading the thing about the book. Okay. Now we're on the film. There's a Ross Moan. I'm still lagged from the travel, guys. Sorry about that. So we told you guys about the novel. The film is a 97 American science fiction action film directed by Paul Verhoeven, written by Edward Neumayer, based on the 59 novel by Robert A. Heinlein. Set in the 23rd century, the story follows teenager Johnny Rico and his comrades as they serve in the military of the U.S., the UC Federation, an Earth-based world government engaged in an interstellar war against alien species known as the Arachnids. Stars Casper Van Dien, Dina Meyer, Denise Richards, Busey, Neil Patrick Harris, Patrick Muldoon, and Michael Ironside. Development of Starship Troopers began in 91 as Bug Hunt at Outpost 7, written by Neumayer.
Wow.
After recognizing the similarities between Neumeyer's script and Heilein's book, producer John Davidson suggested aligning the script more closely with the novel to garner greater interest from studio executives. Despite these efforts, development was slow, with studios hesitant to fund the costly project right up until the start of filming. Principal photography took place between April and October 96 on a $100 to $110 million budget. I stand corrected, 110. of which nearly half was spent on the extensive computer-generated imagery, CGI, and practical effects required to vivify the arachnid creatures. So there you go, guys. There's their explanation for where the $110 million went. Like I said, 110 mil in 97, not the same as 110 mil in 2025, but that's filmmaking, right? There is more about the book and how they combine the stories. I think, I believe we were talking about this in a past show, Gaz, on Minty Comedic Arts. He does the top 10 facts, so definitely check out his Starship Troopers episode if you want more backstory on the film and the creation of the storyline. Let's do plot. In the future, Earth is governed by the United Citizen Federation, a stratocratic regime founded by generations earlier by veterans after democracy and social scientists brought civilization to the brink of ruin. Citizenship is exclusively earned through federal service, which grants rights like voting and procreation that are withheld from ordinary civilians. Humans who are now capable of interstellar travel conduct colonization missions throughout the galaxy, bringing them into conflict with a race of highly evolved insectoid creatures dubbed arachnids, or derisively bugs. Against his parents' objections, teenage Johnny Rico enlists in the mobile infantry to remain close to his girlfriend, spaceship pilot Carmen Ibanez. Their psychic friend Carl Jenkins joins military intelligence, while Isabel Dizzy Flores, who is in love with Rico, deliberately transfers to his squad. Carmen ends her relationship with Rico due to their divergent career paths and her growing feelings for fellow pilot Xander Barkalow. During training, Rico impresses his drill sergeant Zim, earning a promotion to squad leader. However, Rico makes a mistake during a training exercise, which leads to the death of a squad member and the resignation of another, resulting in Rico's demotion and flogging. Disheartened, Rico's quit, but re-enlists after learning that an asteroid sent by the arachnids has destroyed Buenos Aires, killing millions, including his parents. So unpack that a little bit there, Gaz. There's the moment when Rico does the video call with his parents, and obviously the asteroid comes in like a black cloud. They think it's weather, but it's actually an asteroid from the arachnids, takes out his home city. The public flogging. Obviously, Rico's mistake during training leads to getting whipped in front of all the troops. So definitely some good character building there, showing Rico's toughness, his ability not
resilience
to give up,
as well.
even his resilience. He although he has the inclination to quit once his parents are killed, he wants revenge, so he comes back from that. But other than that, it's basically a long, like hour-long training montage. The exercises aren't so bad. They show Rico and Dizzy deploy some strategies against the other teams and stuff. But it does drag on quite a bit.
Yeah, I will say this though. Yeah, it does. But I did enjoy. I mean, Michael Ironside, I think, is one of the best characters in the film.
Agreed.
And I do love his speeches, his interactions with the recruits when he's training them. And dare I say this, gives me the kind of Full Metal Jacket vibes with the drill sergeant. It reminds me of that whole scene, you know, with Vincent. His language escaped me now. Anaforio, I know I've just butchered that. Hey, Sunday, folks, like asleep.
Yeah.
That's what I'm going with. But it kind of reminds me of that, but in space. And that is good. Yeah, it does go on for a little long. As we've said, it's probably one of our few criticisms. But it's nice, and that was expanded upon, I guess, in the Roughneck series, which we can talk about later. It's just you've got this really solid, seasoned veteran who knows what the bugs are about. You've got the recruits all full of enthusiasm, right? I'm here, I can't wait to get kind of stuck into this. Then the reality of when they're going to face these things on the battlefield and what they can actually do to us. And as they say, even now, like if insects were our size, we're giant, we'd be done, you know. So that I've always found interesting, both from the psychology side to it and then just those interactions.
100%. So things we didn't mention are that sort of social media platform of like, do you want to hear more or do you want to see more of clicking through the menu and stuff like. I think Minty talked about that in his top 10. They are way ahead of the map. I mean, in 97, we were all still on dial-up internet at that point, guys. So as far as some of the concepts introduced are way ahead of their time. The whole social media news platform, kind of, totalitarian, censored, controlled news, very forward-thinking concepts. Highlights up until this point, definitely Clancy Brown's performance, definitely Michael Ironside's performance. When Rico, by the time it gets to that like final like dance ball or whatever it is, the final night before, you're like, okay, like, come on, Rico, deploy. Like, you're ready to see him like get some action at that point. You know what I mean? Because it's like, holy crap. And then the rivalry between Rico and Xander, like, I get it, you know, but obviously Rico smoked him in the ball game. So definitely some funny, like, unintentional comedy moments in there. There's supposed to be like, you know, this like, you know, alpha versus alpha, and you're just like, the dialogue is so funny. You're just like, you can't even concentrate on that because you're laughing, right? But as far as Clancy and Ironside, when Rico comes back, and I think the other officer, isn't that Mike from Breaking Bad? Pretty sure.
Good call. I might be.
Clancy's superior. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. I'm almost positive it is. I forget that guy's name, but anyway, when he's like, hey, reinstate me, and they're like, you already signed your form, right? And obviously Clancy's like, officer, like, Private Rico, is this your signature? Doesn't look like it to me. And he just rips it up. I mean, it's an amazing moment, but also they wouldn't have a more advanced system than pen and paper in the 23rd century. So that's kind of funny. That's kind of funny in itself. You have to literally rip the paper in half because you can't delete his name out of the database. Give me a break. But and then obviously I guess the highlight, guys, would be Ironside asking to be redeployed. He's obviously a training officer at that point, but he wants revenge for Buenos Aires too. So he wants boots on the ground. So him and Rico kind of have that in common. They both want to get in the field and strike back at the bugs.
Yeah.
All right, where did I leave us off? So basically after the phone call. So that's Klendathu is the Arachnids' homeworld. An invasion force is deployed to Klendathu, the Arachnids' home planet, but military intelligence underestimates the Arachnids' defensive abilities, leading to hundreds of thousands of human casualties. This is, you know, kind of our first battle scene. There is some cool stuff in here. Let's just talk about, guys, that like in the 23rd century, an empire of Terran space marines wouldn't have a more effective way of attacking an alien homeworld than boots on the ground. Like our current governments wouldn't even put boots on the ground on a, you know, remote island before they would do airstrikes. So, you know, I think they would come up with, I kind of get it, but like, you can't be that surprised at the 100,000 soldier casualties, trying to attack the Arachnid homeworld, knowing that they're already in this conflict with the Arachnids on all these other planets. What up, JSV?
Yeah, for sure. There would at least been some barrages from space for sure before they deployed them.
Reconnaissance probes, looking for weakness, you know. Like, again,
I mean, to those who may be seeing this thinking, oh, you guys are just being like overly picky. No, we're not. We're big fans of this film. We'll just mention a few weaknesses, I guess, that we see now because we watched it so many times. I think that purposely, I mean, it's the whole point of the movie is they do want to show us that boots on the ground despite the little time in getting there. But yeah, especially with what these creatures are, I don't know, they would have put an artillery barrage in there from space for sure.
I mean, you'd think notice the absence of any sort of Death Star technology. Notice the absence of nuking them, hitting them with a massive laser, a bioweapon. You know, obviously, if they're a biological entity, wouldn't you just drop a virus on them and just not one soldier on the ground? Boom, you just spread a plague. I mean, not unlike how the Arachnids are sending asteroids at the human planets. You know what I mean? Wouldn't you'd think that we could harness the Gaz has brought up the 3 Atlas thing on recently on the show. You think we would just harness a satellite, put whatever we want on it, be it an explosive or a bioweapon, and then send it back to them? And yeah, I know we're nerding off on science, guys, but it's sci-fi. This is what we do.
Well, that's an interesting point, Ross, because in 40K, and I'm not going to try and go too deep and try and remember every exact novel where this was mentioned or where this was mentioned in the Codex, whatever. Yeah. I haven't got the time, but there is something where sometimes I guess the humans, the Emperor of Mankind, as it is in 40K, I believe, when we encounter the Tyranids, because they all function as part of a hive mind. So when they take over a planet and they consume it, sometimes to stop their spread, just to delay them, they will exactly do that, Ross. They will put kind of a bioweapon, some kind of plague to which then the Tyranids, or the Nids or bugs as they get called, then have to spend time adapting to evolve past that before they can go on. So that allows the humans to either evacuate that world or prepare their counterattack and defenses in the time it takes the enemy to get over this biovirus. So that's been implanted. And so good call, man.
100%. I mean, notice the use of mini nukes for the bug holes, but they don't have big nukes for the whole planet. I'm sorry, plot hole. I'm sorry. Hey, I get it. The guy wrote a really.
We wouldn't be sat here talking about it, would we? Film would have been done 10 minutes. Oh well, like Starship nukes.
Yeah, they attacked Buenos Aires. Take out their galaxy. You know, just a black hole, and it just sucks them in. Although that'd make a sick short, animated short, but
Starship nuke is
new technology, a bit like the Taken and Destiny, you know, coming from that other shadow galaxy.
Do you know, dare I say it, do you think it's got a Fallout vibe as well in the terms of when it's on the battlefield with the bugs, creatures? I know not kind of exactly the same with the post-apoc feel, but there's definitely, they've taken that influence from Starship Troopers like many other properties have, for sure.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, again, the big parallels are obviously like the Aliens verse and Starship Troopers. But as Gaz said, I think Gaz brought up 40K. Yeah, I mean, you guys know I love Fallout. I'm looking forward to the second season. Gaz and I reviewed season 1. So, I mean, obviously the games, but I like the whole property. And anything that can use it, I think works. There's maybe like the New California Republic. They're a bit of like a militaristic, you know what I mean? So there's definitely
NCR,
some sort of overlap or influence there. So we'll talk about this first fight when Rico gets on the ground. It's when they attack the bug homeland. It's a sick battle. It's honestly more funny than anything. For one, I love the camera dudes. They're just like photo soldiers. They just roll around with their recording camera. No assault rifle, no pistol on his belt. It's like, bro, you are running into a massive arachnid battlefield with a freaking video camera. And how are you going to shoot back? And you see what's happening to all the other soldiers around you. So there's some funny.
It's quite smart though, because that still happens now, where they're literally just armed with, they'll have a flak jacket and a helmet. It'll say press, and that's it. And then, they'll be told at times, right, take cover, or this is your point, can't go any further on. Now you need to leave. So in a way, it's quite cool. I can kind of see both sides where you think of, well, would they have something because it's now, set in the far future, I guess. But on the other side, how press is still being used in that traditional sense, right? So it works for that, and it's quite interesting to see as well.
100%. So I think the dude on the mic who's reporting, I think he gets jacked up by an arachnid, right? The other one, so then that's the camera dude himself. So they're fighting against like the bugs, and the one dude is just getting chopped up, and the dude is just standing right next to the arachnid recording. And like Gaz was saying, I'm like, maybe get behind that phalanx and you're a little too close to the action, bud. So obviously the cameraman gets ripped apart, and there's just like some awesome grindhouse kill moments. But ultimately I think Rico's boy goes down. He tries to save him, and Rico gets stabbed in the leg by an arachnid leg. So Rico goes down. He kind of passes out, and they go immediately to like the propaganda damage report, which is like the attack was a fail, 100,000 troopers dead on the arachnid homeworld. So he gets posted as KIA on the damage report. That's what leads like Carmen to think that like her ex-boyfriend is dead, but he's actually in the regeneration tank. And he gets evolved in 3 days or such. So I do like the regeneration technology. That was cool, guys.
It's pretty cool. That was quite a good scene.
Azerbaijan, a country that Donald Trump cannot pronounce. Both are big Starship Troopers fans.
I probably couldn't either.
How a film like this gets popular in various places around the world. Yeah, I think like the anime. I'd assume like the anime probably has a decent Japanese following. So there's definitely some stuff out there. Anything else on that initial fight, guys?
No, just that it's unintentionally hilarious, but also quite interesting to see how they're still utilizing the press in a traditional sense on the battlefield. That's really cool.
I gotta say, for 23rd century, like their weapon tech is pretty basic. Like they're using like the machine guns with the shotgun alteration, but no lasers, no heavy artillery like what you saw in like Dune. You know what I mean? Like so, like for another 200 years, you'd expect some much stronger explosives. Like they do have grenades, but it's like they're still fighting like a modern warfare that is like from our century, which you'd expect them to be a little bit beyond that, you know.
Yeah. Did you get a bit of a pulse rifle feel though from the guns? Because I did. They've got that
for sure
moment to them. So, but saying that with aliens though, they do have weapons that they obviously deploy to deal with the more lethal situations. I mean, the smart gun, obvious, and it has the tracking on there as well. So, yeah, even if they could have had maybe basic versions that they use to give, and then the more advanced versions of those weapons as well, even something like that, you know, a higher caliber, for example, fires faster, or, you know, just even something like that.
I'm telling you, the bugs would have some weakness, and human because you have those dudes like Neil Patrick Harris, like he's in military intelligence, right? And they're obviously doing testing on the captured bugs. So you would find a weakness, whether it was like we already have this now. I mean, a lot of it's experimental. You know, Gaz knows what they're doing over there in the UK, at least whatever articles you guys see, and then, you know, whatever we see over here. A lot of it's top secret, but eventually when it gets deployed in the field, there's like some sort of like, you know, news coverage of it. So a sound weapon, you know, like a high pitch, I bet that would affect the arachnid sensors. Radiation, you know, you'd expect to see everything. Like a bug race that's wiping out humans across the galaxy. Trust me, we would hit them with everything we had, you know, especially on their home world, you know.
Yeah, so, because you aren't fighting an enemy in a sense of, I guess it's other humanoids. It's if we let them get a foothold, say, on our planet or whatever other planet we're colonized, like I was referencing the Tyranids from 40K, and then they're allowed to spread so fast, and then their numbers are increased again. Well, we could be wiped out very, very quickly because they're just spreading that fast, and the numbers are that great.
100%, yeah. So even satellite weaponry. I mean, like that's the only thing. Like drones are so you know, mainstay in our culture now. Obviously 97 was probably a bit before any of that stuff would be deployed, but you'd expect, and again, the game Extermination does have a lot of that. They have like a revive drone that flies around and revives all the downed troopers. So I mean, we'll have the conversation at the end, but I'd be so much more interested to see how they do it now, Gaz, with another $100 million budget. If you could bring back Rico as the colonel, because he works his way up the ranks. So I'd like to see
that would be sick.
Officer. And then see like how's he deploying the new tech on the battlefield, you know, like
even put
drones and such.
Even put like robotic soldiers on there with them as well, and some mechs to give them that bit of an extra kick. Yeah, that would be sick and insane.
Like the Goliaths in StarCraft, that would be perfect, you know what I mean? So a lot of that. Badly wounded, Rico's rescued by Lieutenant Jean Razak, his former high school teacher, but is mistakenly reported dead. And it doesn't actually show him, but Razak pulls him out of there. Devastating karma. And following his recovery, Rico, Dizzy, and squad mate Ace Levy joined Razak's elite unit, the Roughnecks. After Rico defeats a gigantic tanker bug on the disputed planet of Tango Eurelia, he is elevated to the rank of corporal for his valor and begins a romantic relationship with Dizzy. We could unpack that Eurelia scene. You see some good tech there. Obviously, the flying bug. That's a bit like Shriek. Tremors added a flying bug like that, and Tremors was it 3? Shrieker Island, or I don't know which one it was. I think it was 3. And then again, me and Gaz need to revisit those because there's many Tremors now. But the flying, so he tells the radio men to go up to get an elevated signal on the canyon. Flying bug obviously picks him off. Razak scopes him with the sniper rifle. What else happens there? That big bug comes out behind him. So Rico is on the big bug. He obviously jumps on top, shoots the hole in the shell, and that's when Rico nades it from the inside. So, but like, I like the fact that like Rico's coming up with these new strats, but also the fact that like he just came in as a private, and they've been around for 100 years, and they haven't figured out these things that Rico is just like freestyling on the fly. Like, it makes it cool for his character, but you're like, how come the 100 officers above him haven't thought of any of these strats before? He does deploy. And again, like Gaz said, we're reviewing this from a perspective of we've both seen the film 10 times. So there's certain things that are going to jump out to us that you may not notice at the first time. He does deploy the mini nuke on the bug hole, guys. I like that. So it shows how they kind of have those smart nukes that can take the turns and go deeper.
Yeah, that was cool.
kind of like the bunker busters that Trump recently deployed in Iran or whatever that was. Although it was reported that was overstated success rate, a complete fail, but that's neither here nor there. What we see here is Rico do it much more tactically in Starship Troopers. So that was cool. I mean, I like the big bugs. I like the bug variations. I know in the game they have the Marauders, they have the Tigers, which are those yellow striped ones. And you do see a few different ones later on in the movie. But those big ones that kind of have the blue pulse blast that they were sending up at the human ships. It gives it a sick aesthetic of the invasion human fleet coming in, and then those big pulse balls flying through the sky or flying through space, rather. So it's definitely dope aesthetically.
Yeah, and that's one of the strengths of the film as well on the battlefield scenes, particularly point where they're defending that outpost, and you see the bugs gathering from side to side marching, and you think you're on the ground. How can I say this nicely? Things would happen in your pants seeing that. And you'd be relying on the senior officers to keep you calm because you'd seen these huge, massive kind of insectoid bug-like creatures that they get past your fire range and get close to you. And if you haven't took them out, hopefully with something close range, you're likely going to be ripped apart. So that was something that has always stuck out to me, Ross, with the film, no matter how many times when you do see the bugs just first appearing on the battlefield. In the outpost scene. And also there's definitely kind of some comparisons with field battles from World War II, even a bit kind of like trench warfare as well. So all of those are very interesting from a visual standpoint.
And I just want to announce that the release date was November 7th, 1997. So we're a couple days after the anniversary. Not too far.
Not too far.
I think it still counts. So that's one of the reasons why we wanted to highlight this, in addition to Veterans Day coming up. So responding to a distress signal on the Arachnid-controlled planet P, the Roughnecks discovered Arachnid ravage outposts and are ambushed by the bugs. This is the scene Gaz was talking about. Carmen and Xander recover the surviving Roughnecks by dropship, but not before Dizzy is fatally impaled by an arachnid, and Rico mercy kills the mutilated Rasek. And that's actually what Rasek said before when he killed the radio man. He's like, I'd expect any of you to do the same for me. The group returns to the fleet, assembled in orbit above P, where Dizzy is eulogized. If you want to just take it over 1 sec, guys, I'm going to grab my water. Take you two seconds.
Yeah, it's quite a good scene when they eulogize Dizzy. You see them paying tribute and honor, something that we see in sci-fi films since that time. All the uniforms where the officers are decorated, so that was quite cool. Another very visually striking scene, Ross, because it parallels, armed forces current day as well, the way they pay tribute there. So that I thought it's always been pretty well done in the film itself.
Yeah, it was cool. We could talk about Rico's progression from acting sergeant basically as when he was coming up under Rasek. Each next in line, basically second in command, was getting killed off. So Rasek was kind of like promoting Rico, like, "Hey, I need a corporal. I need a you're kind of
move up the ranks quite fast, couldn't you?"
Yeah. It was cool to see Rico do that in real time. I still want to see the film where he's like an older officer, though, because like me and Gaz always say about King Conan, you've never actually seen Rico, at least in canon on film, as an officer. You always see him as like the private in one. So I mean, I want to see him like when he's gained the wisdom like the other officers, like
and that further experience, and how then he looks back upon it, and it could be even like we've been fighting these bugs, say, I don't know, for so many decades, and even if we were winning, but they've still got this one planet this we cannot get control of, remove them or whatever. So that would be really cool.
Yeah, for sure. So eulogized. Jenkins, now a colonel, reveals that the Roughnecks were deliberately ordered into the trap, justifying it as a necessary sacrifice to confirm the existence of a brain bug, an intelligent arachnid strategically directing the others. And I believe the Zerg do have that same hive mind concept.
Yeah.
So I mean, you see that in a lot of kind of infectious alien themes, as Gaz was saying. He assigns Rico command of the Roughnecks, and Field promotes him to lieutenant, instructing him to return to P and capture the brain bug. As the battle commences, Carmen's ship is destroyed by the arachnids, but an escape pod carrying her and Xander crashes into the underground tunnel system. I think it turns up here, and the extermination game on Steam does like a lot more with these underground tunnel themes. As far as like Carmen's whole storyline with Xander, you know, the pilot, like I just didn't really care for it. I honestly thought that it loses some steam going between Rico and Dizzy and Carmen, and she's the pilot on the ship under other officers. Like, I like that it switches the perspective from like military infantry to like what's going on with the pilots, but that's also very Star Wars, right? Like we always see like the boots on the ground and then the space battle outside the planet. So it's like, I can't say it hasn't been done before. I think if they were to go forward and do another film, that they should, if it's going to be Rico or one of Rico's proteges, they should focus more on like just a couple main characters instead of bouncing around so much.
Yeah, and you could, if you weren't going to kind of do a whole field battle film again, or you could do a combination of this other idea, what I'm going to put forward. You could center it on an elite unit, special elite unit that they've trained, that are either having to escape from that territory. Bugs are chasing them, man, that'd be super difficult because obviously these things are a lot faster than us. So that's where you can bring in the technology, Ross. Maybe synthetics, cyborgs, or something to use them for that speed, you know, to get out of there. So something like that. I think we definitely want to see the space battles just with the tech and what they could do now with that budget. So we'd want to see that boots on the ground as well. Dare I say this, because this kind of frightens me with what they do with remakes, kind of not remake the original, but an improved version of the positives that we enjoyed, as you said, with focusing maybe on just 2 or 3 characters, because it does feel, I kind of love Triangle, and as it progresses throughout the film, it's kind of I've just not really cared for it either way, and it's sometimes a bit of a distraction. And you're waiting for those scenes to finish. Okay, let's get past these 2 characters. Don't really care. I get it. It's his former girlfriend, but let's get past that now to the more interesting ones. A bit like in Lord of the Rings, whenever it's on the Hobbits, you're wanting it to get to the other characters who are far more interesting than Elijah Wood and the others running around, you know, shy or whatever. We think of another word, but I won't say it.
100%. Yeah, no, like I agree. I think this was made at a time when they're like, hey, how are we going to get women to watch these like roughneck meatheads?
Oh yeah, that's why it was done. Yeah, definitely.
So they needed the 50-50 audience, but I think at this point where most content comes out on streaming now, and the theater release isn't as much of a thing as it used to be, and now you've got the video games and the animes and stuff, that it's branched out enough now where, you know, I don't know, maybe Rico has a son, or even if he just has like a protege, you know, it could go back and forth between Rico like training his kind of like you know, his apprentice, who's eventually gonna, you know, because Rico's not gonna be around forever. He already has the eye patch in the future, and I think didn't one of his hands get blown off or something. So I think he has like a synthetic limb. So Rico's aging out. He's not going to be able to lead the front line forever. So it'd be cool to see like, hey, I'm going to train this next guy up that knows everything I know.
Yeah,
come up the ranks like
they're kind of like Ironside with Rico. Yep, so 100%. Like, you know how Ironside passes down his experience and the lessons that he's learned, and Rico continues to do that so we can take this forward to the next one. Yep. It's not totally, you know, right amount or not having any of the films, because you obviously need the senior hierarchy in the military, the experience, etc. Not right, let's just get rid of them all and we'll just put all the complete noobs in, because then the war will be over very, very fast.
Right, 100%. I like Gaz's idea. I think like if it's not the Roughnecks, maybe now that it's advanced another 100 years, another 200 years from the 23rd century, now it's the 25th century, and I would see a need for elites, you know, special guard. So a bit like the Sardaukar from the Harkonnen and Dune, or you know, now they need okay, we send these guys in when things are totally messed, you know, like Gaz was saying, like even the Roughnecks are, hey, the Roughnecks are good, but if we need something a little bit more specialized, a little bit higher tech, a little bit more punch, you know, that hits harder, hey, we got to send in the elite units, you know what I mean? I think that would be the next evolution.
Yeah, complete purge team on extraction unit if they need to go in and get something, or if they, you know, they find a nest where they can send them in and take out, I don't know, maybe there's a new bug from the arachnids we haven't encountered before, or a deadly one, right? Let's find out 100%. Where these things are and then take them out. Yeah, so many areas you could go with it.
100%. Okay, where are we? Tunnel system. The pair are captured. I mean, I do like this final act. I mean, the way they went with it. I mean, it was definitely cool having them stuck in the tunnels. I mean, that's undeniably cool. Yeah. The pair are captured by arachnids, and the brain bug consumes Xander's brain, absorbing his knowledge. I mean, this is where I think it kind of hits the peak right there, because now you're getting more bug lore. Rico directs his squad to complete their mission, while he, Ace, and their squad mate Watkins rescue Carmen and hold the arachnids at bay with a miniature nuclear bomb. The brain bug escapes while the arachnids attack and fatally wound Watkins, who sacrifices himself by detonating the bomb while his teammates escape. On the surface, they learn that Zim has captured the brain bug, and the assembled troops rejoice as Jenkins psychically detects it. It is afraid. A propaganda... Go ahead, guys.
No, I'm sorry, bro. I'm just fanboying out loud. It's just replaying in my head.
Yeah, that scene is. I mean, I don't love Neil Patrick Harris, but he played this character.
This scene is epic, though, man.
Him reading the bug's mind.
It's afraid. It's afraid.
Yeah. The celebration is like, dude, way beyond the New Hope metal scene. Yeah. A propaganda broadcast details how the brain bug is being invasively studied to learn its secrets and ensure humanity's victory. The ad encourages viewers to enlist and do their part in the war so they can become like Carmen, now captain of her own ship, and Rico, who enthusiastically leads his troops into another battle. So pretty sick. You know, the only regret here is like you don't really get to see Rico's progression like in the next chapter, because Starship Troopers 2 comes out like it's like a micro budget. It really doesn't. It's the same universe, but it doesn't follow up really canonically for 1. And same thing with 3 Marauder, which I think he comes back in 3, doesn't he? I can't even remember now.
Well, this you see, I've only seen 2 and 3. You know, the first 2 sequels, and I think, and it's been a long time, they use a lot of the same footage as well, if I remember. I think they definitely did in the second
2, one. I think they do. Yeah,
I think it was in 2, isn't it? And I've always felt the end of the original of Starship Troopers, unless you're like a passionate sci-fi fan or you get fully invested in this universe, is a lot of people think, right, yeah, that's it. That was the only thing they did. I mean, some know the Roughneck animated series as well. And it still kind of leaves you with that thirst rush, like, oh, I wanted to see more of this. I want to, you know, get a good sequel. And of course, you got the small kind of straight to non-cinema release, I guess, with this with the sequels, which
Hero of the Federation. Yeah. It's pretty brutal. It's not very good. But I do like that infection theme, like I was saying earlier. So
yeah, that's interesting.
That would have made a sick game too, you know what I mean? Yeah. Like living on that outpost with your own squad getting infected, that could have been cool.
Yeah, it has that espionage feel to it as well, doesn't it?
100%. And it looks like Rico does come back at 3, Starship Troopers, Marauder, but the bugs are back, prepare for the attack, although it's Johnny Rico is called back into action to defeat the bugs. So Rico comes back. You can see it free on the Roku channel, I think. And it's a micro budget. I like his other stuff. So the first animation is 2012 Invasion. And this is pretty sick. Has some cool stuff in it. A Black Op has gone terribly wrong. Now Captain Carmen Ibanez and hardcore trooper famed as Major Henry Hero Varro must lead a team of battle-weary troops to find the missing ship and discover what went wrong. It's kind of like a ghost ship, like version of Romulus, except watchable as opposed to Romulus. And then the other anime, I don't know if you saw this piece of crap, Gaz, Starship Troopers, Traitor of Mars. Now, it was a cool place to like setting, but the movie absolutely sucks.
Really?
It's just like a 3D generated anime. Federation trooper Johnny Rico is ordered to work with a group of new recruits on a satellite station on Mars where giant bugs have decided to attack their next attack. So it sounds awesome, but it's just like very slow paced, even more so than this film we just reviewed, and just doesn't work. So I've seen the 2 animes, the 2 sequels, and then I've played the PC game Extermination, which I highly recommend. It's super dope. But other than that, if there's comic books or other stuff out there, it'd be interesting to read the original book, Gaz. I would take a look at that. You know,
it would. I will recommend Roughneck Starship Trooper Chronicles, though. That's actually pretty good. Didn't run for too long, but that's
I think it was maybe 2 seasons.
Yeah, and you get more expansion, I guess, on the Roughnecks too. But that's another series I've always rated and found to be quite good. Probably better than the sequels. In my opinion, although I do like the espionage theme, as you said, Ross, that was interesting. It's a shame. I mean, you could tie that in if we got the new one as well. Yep. Closing cutscene, you know, a leader over here has been taken over, a bit like what they did on one of the G.I. Joe movies, you know, with the president. Yep. So it could do something like that. Yeah,
absolutely. I totally agree. That's a great point. I think that'd be sick. So yeah, that's what I want to see. I want to see Rico come back, but not like he did in Marauder. Like come back as a colonel, where he's kind of he's directing the troops and kind of making the calls. But then, like Gaz said, there's a battle that's so bad where they're just getting ripped so bad that like they have to send Rico back into the ground battle. You know what I mean? And just see how he kind of a bit like how Gaz was saying Ironside's character Razak, he was training them in the training school, but then when the battle started, he wanted to go back on the ground because he wanted to like get revenge. That it'd be cool to kind of see Rico follow that.
And you could even do that with Rico, where he's a senior officer now, so he's going to be in a command tent, organizing operations, deployment, etc., on the ground. So there's still a way where you could have him on the ground. It could even be a moment where, say, field operations is attacked to successfully defend themselves. He has an encounter with a bug, and both, people think, all right, that's it, he's toast, because he's obviously battle hardened and experienced. I know he pulls something out and takes it out. And likely he would have you would think, as we said, some kind of robotic bodyguard with him. And I'm totally sci-fi fanboy in here. I know I am, or experience, or certainly a team around him that is. But he's going to have his own personal Sadu car. Should just say that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I was just looking to see if there's anything else on Steam, but it doesn't look like it other than Extermination and the Terran command that Gaz.
And I will say this, folks, I do like the closing scene with the way they say, yeah, it's afraid, and everybody celebrates. That's a very cool moment. It's got the kind of fun and humor thrown in as well, and just the way he delivers that line. Ross, it's almost like he turns to the camera and breaks the fourth wall. It's afraid.
Yeah. Gotta have some sci-fi action cheese in there. So it's 2 hours and 9 minutes. I think me and Gazzy can basically get to our ratings. I'm gonna bump it up a little bit here. I had it at a 7. It currently has a 7.3 out of 10 on IMDb with 340,000 reviews. I'm giving it 8 out of 10. Like I said, not perfect. The only thing that really messes it up is the pacing. I would like to see just like, maybe slim it down 20, 30 minutes and make it more of like a space war epic, give it what it's supposed to be. Maybe a darker tone, like a Rogue One style tone with kind of less of the cheese, because when Rico's not a teenager anymore, you don't got to worry about him and his 2 girlfriends, et cetera. So I'd like to just see it streamlined and cleaned up a bit, but I definitely highly recommend Extermination, because they do add a lot more weaponry abilities, the drones, and more tech, and you can kind of see how the troopers have evolved in those fire teams and such. So it's definitely a good squad game. Definitely pretty tough when you play it on some of the harder levels when with I forget what they call that, wave mode, when you fight the 10 waves and each wave has more and more bugs. When you get to wave 9, wave 10, and they're just completely smashing your base, it definitely is a good challenge for those of you.
Do they have bosses at the end of these waves then? You know, say on wave 10, then do you all have to fight a boss? I was just wondering if they had a huge bug you had to fight.
I don't think so, but I actually haven't played it really recently. So
Right.
and they've updated a few different patches now, and they've added stuff each time. So they're always adding stuff. I don't remember if there are bosses, but I mean, it's the type of game where when you fight like some of those very heavy, like tough units, like it might as well be a boss fight, you know. And obviously you only have, I think, 4 fire teams per map. So even and you can revive each other and stuff, but depending on if you're playing on hard, there's no revives. So it's a tough game. If you want a good shooter with a good challenge, I definitely recommend Extermination. Check it out on Steam or wishlist it and wait till it goes on sale. It's a good way to do it.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. It's got me thinking as well. Can you call? I will get back to the actual film, folks. I'm just fanboying here. Can you call in artillery strikes, anything like that?
I mean, I always just play the same class, which is like whatever the main like infantry guy is. But there's like, I don't really know what the other classes can do, because there's a medic, there's a sniper, there's like a jetpack kind of dude that's cool because they go straight up to like the highest elevation and they always get like the best kind of terrain. So yeah, I don't know. Maybe there is like, and I think they have maybe added 1 or 2 new ones as well. My guy's more of like you can what would you call that? You can kind of like castle, where he puts up like a barrier and you can kind of like self bunker. So you can go in a corner and put your wall up and just kind of camp behind it. And then they can't rush you, especially those shorter bugs that go straight for your legs. It stops them. So you could just shoot down on them and they can't rush you. So there's a lot of cool nuanced stuff in there. And then like Gaz was saying, the nests, the missions where you got to go deep into the tunnels and then nuke the nests. Because you got to place the explosives, like you got to place like 4 or 5 of them on the weak spots, and then you got to kind of like extract, like Gaz was saying. So that's cool. One cool thing is even if the bugs overrun you and they smash your bases to pieces, when they call in the retreat, if you make it to the drop ships, you can still get out without dying, and then it's like your outcome is defeat, but you don't lose as many points if you escape with the drop ship. If you get stuck in the base and they maul you and you don't make it, then you just die and you don't get as many points. You know what I mean? Because you died in there and got the defeat. But yeah, well, like I said, once you start playing on the harder difficulties, if you're not used to like swarm games or wave games or squad games, it definitely gets a lot more difficult.
Right.
But
No,
that's
one thing
I need to explore those other classes for sure.
Yeah, it sounds tight.
Yeah.
I'm the same as you. I'm an 8. It's a sci-fi classic. Seen it so many times. The only thing I totally agree with you is just, I guess, the pacing. I understand why they did it at the start, world building, character, etc. It'd be nice to see one more field battle, and this is the only critique, I guess, and this is because we've seen it so many times. So looking back at it, definitely influenced many other games, films that followed, still revered as a classic to this day. There's enough material and expansive material where we could get something solidly done now, slightly more grimy, still retain a bit of that humor it's known for, but not like Marvel cheese. You know, we don't need more of that. Not in this universe, certainly. And something, what up, Mike? Yeah, definitely is. And something where it's focusing in on 2 or 3 characters. It would be great to see Rico as that senior commander, Ross, and his relation, kind of fulfilling that Ironside role, his relationship with the new recruits, what he thinks of the bugs now. That would be great to see. So yeah, definitely an 8.
Yeah, 100%. And just to put it out there, a bit of a spoiler, guy, not on the movies, but you do get to see Rico as the Colonel Rico after I don't know what to call it, franchise installment 3, Marauder. In Invasion, the anime, you see him in that with the eye patch, and then you also see him in Extermination with the eye patch as the Colonel.
Nice.
He kind of comes up and he gives you the mission briefings and stuff. So it's like, it's pretty cool. You're still interacting with Rico, and it is Casper Van Dien's voice.
So that's pretty cool.
I know I think he produced both the animes, And I think he
Nice.
was involved in production of the game. I don't know if they credit him as a producer. He obviously used his voice and likeness. So he is still involved. So you'd like to think that, you know, if I just don't know about the current climate, like toxically, masculine
Oh
grindhouse
no,
movies such as
I
this
know.
guy's with the hard R. I don't know if like right now is the climate to get it made, and I also don't see them putting up another $100 million budget for this. But I think even with 50 million nowadays, you could put something really crispy together.
Yeah, I was going to say you could get a series for it then, focusing on
That'll work.
live action Roughnecks, I guess.
That'll work. That'll work.
Could do that.
Nowadays with Netflix, Fallout,
Yeah,
and Amazon Prime, they're all going to series. So I think I
yeah.
think that would work if they can't.
I mean, I'd love to see it on the big screen again. Really would. That would be great because this type of film is just fantastic on the big screen. If anyone gets a chance, because if anyone hasn't seen it and gets a chance to go to one of the event screenings that they regularly do at theaters for various releases, then they've done this, I know, with Starship Troopers before, and definitely go and watch it on the big screen, because it's one of those movies where if you've never seen it on a big screen, it has to be on there. So I would love us to get a major release on the big screen again, Ross, but I appreciate it. Might be a bit difficult because if there's no nice way to say this, but if a fart smells too badly now, they're likely to be uproar about it.
Yeah, I would say you probably nailed it because it seems like the model nowadays is like the streaming model for the series. So I would say it would be, go that way. But I remember when me and Mike saw it in the theater in '97 when it dropped, and it was awesome. So I'd like other people to be able to enjoy that as well. But I don't know. I don't know if Casper could really demand this high budget, but I mean I'm sure they could get something done, especially the fact that Extermination's so popular on Steam. It shows that the IP still has a big following, you know what I mean? So
it's a cool
anime movies.
It always will be because it's established itself now as cult classic sci-fi, which it is. People always talk about it. It's one of those on there, like with, I know Star Wars has had its problems, but it's up there with it for that franchise that people always talk about, Star Wars, Aliens, Starship Troopers now. I was going to say The Predator, but I maybe won't open that can of worms with what's just happened.
I was going to say that as well, but
R.I.P. The Predator.
Flatlands is another story. I just don't like where that director's taking it. I mean, Predator PG is just PG-13 is just not a thing. It just doesn't work. And the funny thing is, they keep talking about how badly they want to bring Dutch back, and I'm like, you want to bring Dutch back in a PG-13 movie because that's like an R-rated character as you can get, So
it's just.
But I think on that note, we can basically wrap, guys. Feel free to drop your ratings on Starship Troopers. 1997 classic, released on the anniversary, as we said. And
one other thing, Ross, I'm going to look this up whilst you're talking. The nerd in me's just remembered something.
Do what you got to do. I was just going to shout out next week. Join us for The Running Man. That's not Glenn Powell 2025. That's The Running Man 1987. We're definitely going to be rocking that. We might do a little pre-roast of the new remake. And then after that, No Country for Old Men. It's another anniversary show. Sorry yesterday. Sorry the show got bumped off yesterday. Today I was traveling, guys. But we're going back to the regular schedule next week, and we'll have some sick shows with Running Man, No Country, and Sisu 2, Road Revenge, which guys and I are absolutely pumped for. Again, highly recommend Sisu 1.
I just seem to remember, Ross. Yeah, definitely. They even did the Starship Troopers tabletop game, like 40k all that kind of thing. And they did Starship Troopers, the miniatures game. So and then people, so it's still around apparently, still being sold. So if anyone wants to recreate their battles and get nerdy and this is how I do this scene or whatever.
I mean, if there's other stuff out there, comic books or graphic novels, anything guys and I missed, feel free to drop that in the comments and let us know. Let's see, film me. I was just gonna shoot down the Wikipedia and just see home media, other media, sequels and a remake. Verhoeven had never developed a sequel to his films, but he was interested in directing a second Troopers installment. The relative failure of Starship Troopers derailed plans for a theatrical sequel, and Verhoeven moved on to other projects. Starship Troopers was followed by 2 low-budget direct-to-home media sequels. The first, 2, Hero of the Federation, was directed by Tippett from a script by Newmere and followed new characters. Newmere wrote and directed the second sequel, 3, Marauder, for which Van Dien reprised his role as Rico. The series narrative was continued in 2 CGI animated films, Invasion and Traitor of Mars, was written by Newmere and features voice acting by Van Dien and Mayer. In the early 2010s, it was reported the film series could be rebooted to more closely align with Heinlein's novel. There have been no updates since 2016. Verhoeven was unhappy with the concept. In 2021, Van Dien said a television adaptation was being considered by Sony Pictures, although talks had stalled because of the COVID-19 pandemic. A remake was confirmed for March 2025 that will be written and directed by Neil Blomkamp. Whoa, I think we mentioned this before. Blomkamp, legendary director of District 9, Elysium, and Chappie. Caspian comes back in 3, Marauder.
Yeah, and he'd probably have more of a chance to do this because wasn't he supposed to be rumored to be doing
direct sequel to Aliens?
Which never happened.
So I think he got screwed around, and then I think when me and you saw this article, I was like, dude, he wants to do that because he was supposed to do Aliens. So I trust Neil Blomkamp. I know Pixie is pretty anti-remakes, but with Neil Blomkamp directing, I can have faith in that. So that would be cool. So yeah, that'd be sick, guys. Like we said, if there's any other types of media that we missed, feel free to shout it out in the comments below.
Yeah, apparently this, I looked it up, Ross. It was by Moongoose Publishing, and it was Starship Troopers. The miniatures game was in 2005, and they also did a role-playing game which was based on the novel and heavily influenced by the original movie and the 2004 sequel film, and also the Roughnecks animated series. Not that I have the patience to do anything like that, but for those that are interested in it, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, there's stuff out there, guys. Pretty sick. Let us know if there's anything we missed. I think that'll do it. We both dropped our ratings. Like I said, join us next week for The Running Man, 1987. Don't talk about the remake here on PXF. After that, Gaz and I will do No Country, and then Sisu 2. Check out the Sisu 2 Road to Revenge trailer if you haven't seen it. Paradigm Review Show. I think that's it for us, guys. Starship Troopers, 1997. Happy Veterans Day, and that was the anniversary review. So it's a classic. If you're into gaming, check out Exterminations on Steam. It's pretty sick. Any other final shouts, guys?
Mortal Kombat has been delayed until May, which, I'm not surprised with what we saw in the trailer. No, just thanks for everybody for coming. Like I said, if you've never seen Starship Troopers and you have a chance to see it on the big screen, I would highly recommend watching it on the big screen. They do event screenings at theaters where they will show classics like this. Starship Troopers does get on the big screen every so often on one of those kind of events. Check out the Roughnecks animated series. I highly recommend that. Starship Troopers 2 is okay. It's not as good as the original. It's a micro budget, so bear that in mind. It's very indie, kind of non-theater release. But as Ross said, the espionage plot in it is quite cool. Haven't seen any of the sequels past the first 2, so I don't know what those are like. But yeah,
so you got to watch Marauder when Rico comes back.
Yeah. That's the one. I haven't seen that.
Yeah, it's homework list. Starship Trooper 3 Marauder.
Yeah. So folks, just thank you as always. Or hit us up with any recommendations for something that you would like us to cover. And take care and have a good one, y'all.
Yeah, like, sub, share, head on over to Moshinobi, give Gaz a sub. You can always click the join button to get a membership here. And like I said, we'll be back next week with Running Man OG, followed by No Country for Old Men and Sisu 2, Road to Revenge. We'll probably kick off December with the Crow graphic novel, which is over here on my shelf somewhere, James O'Barr. And then we do have Heat and a couple other things coming up. So any recommendations or anything you guys want us to cover for December, we still have a slot open. Shoot them out in the chat or the comments. Otherwise, we might pull something from Gaz's PXF Classics list. Or like we said, I'll have to look up when the RoboCop anniversary is, Gaz, because I got a feeling that needs to go on the classic list as well.
Yeah,
so,
even RoboCop 2 as well, which is actually, I feel, underrated. It's pretty good.
Both sick.
I mean, RoboCop 3, was a bit, but
it
first
fell
two
off a bit there.
classics.
They didn't have Peter Weller anymore. They lost their Steam. But the game, however, on Steam, definitely check that out. Fire in the new Unfinished Business. Paradigm Review Show. Like, sub, share. Click join to get a membership, and you can sub Gaz over at Mosh Shinobi. We are out. Drop your Starship Troopers ratings either in the live chat or in the comments below. Hit us up next time. Running Man, 1987. Arnold Schwarzenegger, Stephen King, OG classic. Don't talk about the remake here. We're out.